This is a live edition of the broadcast, and this is your broadcast. So you get to ask me any financial education question you might have. So we'll talk about it's a Thanksgiving tradition to take a moment to give thanks for the IRA rules that are helpful to retirement savers. We know there are many times the rules governing retirement accounts can be tricky. They often seem illogical, confusing, and maybe downright unfair. However, there are others that work well and give us the tools we need to save for a secure retirement and maybe even get a few tax breaks along the way. So are we on YouTube Live? No? Yes. Oh, 800. I thought we weren't going live. Okay. We're live on YouTube. Give us a call, 800-321-0710. If you want to type anything, type it in the chat box with your questions. 800-321-0710. Give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. If you want a free Thanksgiving gift for the holidays, you get a 3-for-1 special. If you call us at 888-988-JOSH, I'll reveal what that is later on. They often seem illogical, confusing, unfair. However, there are others that work well and give us the tools we need to save for a secure retirement and maybe even get a few tax breaks along the way. Here are a few IRA rules according to IRAhelp.com's slot report for which we are thankful in 2022. Roth conversions. Roth conversions allow IRA owners to move funds from a pre-tax status to after-tax. There is a tax bill, but potentially huge payoff down the road is tax-free growth distributions. We are grateful for this strategy that gives retirees the peace of mind that comes with not having to worry about future tax rates or the impact of taxable IRA distributions on Medicare, Social Security, and other tax deductions and credits. What we mean by that is if you have money in cash value life insurance or Roth IRAs, and you take money out, a loan from a life insurance contract or distribution from a Roth, it has no negative consequence on Social Security taxation, no negative consequence on Medicare taxation and other tax deductions and credits. So give us a call now, 888-988-JOSH, if you want the free book, the 27-Point Ultimate Financial Game Plan. We will give you, by the way, for Thanksgiving, a live beautiful rendition of your protection, savings, and growth plan as it is. So you get to see all of your 27 points in a beautifully aligned visual representation of where you are today. You're never going to know where you're going to go unless you know your point of origin, where you're going to start. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, if you want that free customizable model. It's a wealth simulation of your life. And then we'll throw in the retirement pressures calculator, where you'll get to see if a 60-40 portfolio, which Wall Street Journal says is dead, is it really dead? How should you allocate the 40 that was in maybe bond funds? Should you think of something else? And you'll get my book, The Retirement Reality Check, for free, all by scheduling your model review at 888-988-JOSH. So before you build a house, you want to get an architectural rendering. This is an architectural rendering of your financial picture. So we're very thankful for Roth conversions. I'm very thankful for life insurance, cash values. Why? As you get older, do you know your Medicare doubles in costs? So let's say you were a good little boy or girl. You did what you were supposed to do. You socked money away in a 401k or IRA. And guess what happens? They double your Medicare premiums. This is a stealth tax on the good student, the one who saved for retirement. But it doesn't hurt you if the money is in a Roth. Doesn't hurt you if it's in life insurance. Same thing with Social Security. Jim, you know Social Security can be taxed at up to 85%?
That's crazy.
So FDR, did you know that? No. So those little old ladies, living on $1,000 a month, well, they don't pay, to be fair, they don't pay. If you pay $1,000 a month, you get paid $1,000 a month from Social Security. You don't have to worry about Social Security taxation. But if you make Social Security, let's say it's $1,000 a month, and let's say you make, so that's $12,000 a year. Let's say you make $50,000 a year working a side job because you need to make the money and you're taking Social Security. Guess what happens? That Social Security is taxed at up to 85% of your earnings. Now, it doesn't mean it's an 85% tax rate. It just means that if you're making $1,000 a month on Social Security, that $850 of that would be go towards your adjusted gross income. Now, who do we have that to thank for? Bill Clinton. He signed that into law. So not only do we have balanced budgets in the 90s and the Monica Lewinsky scandal, we have the average person really got hurt by Social Security. If you make over $44,000 as a married couple, $34,000 as a single person, your Social Security can be taxed up to 85%. Now you might say, well, that wasn't all Bill Clinton. No, probably, presidents just signed these things into law. Now, to be a equal opportunity offender, the 50% taxation was passed in the 80s by President Ronald Wilson Reagan. So give us a call now, 800-321-0710. Don't be bashful. I will really want to hear from you. I really want to hear from you. Wascally Wabbit, I hope you all had a blessed Thanksgiving with your family. Why are you going? What's wrong, Jim?
I ate a lot of food.
Was it not bigger contributions allowed in 2023? No one likes inflation, but when it comes to retirement accounts, there's one bright spot in the inflation mess. Inflation has led to the largest COLA, or cost of living adjustment, in the retirement account limits in a long time. While inflation is no fun, we are thankful that next year savers can put away a little more for a secure retirement. The IRA contribution limit will increase to $6,500 for those under age 50. Catch-up contributions. Time flies. Many workers see retirement looming, and they feel unprepared. Older savers close to retirement can put away a little more with a catch-up provision. For 2023, those aged 50 or over can sock away an extra $1,000 a year for $7,500 in total IRA contributions. So we're thankful this year for you as a listener, but we're also thankful for Roths, life insurance, bigger contribution limits thanks to COLA, and catch-up contributions. So call us at 888-988-JOSH during the break for the 27-point protection, savings, and growth model. And I'll throw in my book as a free Christmas and Hanukkah present. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH. We'll be back after these messages.
Tune in to the financial quarterback Josh Jelinsky this weekend and learn how to protect your financial future in a down economy. Josh and his team at the Jelinsky Advisory Group can help you lower your taxes and lower your risk in these uncertain times with a 27-point checklist designed to improve your financial health. Whether you're worried about runaway prices, fear of an upcoming recession, or a stock market meltdown, tune in to the financial quarterback and count on Josh Jelinsky to call the play. For a free copy of Josh's book, The Retirement Reality Check, Call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674. Or visit Jelinsky.org. That's JALINSKI.org. Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher, or that the stock market is headed for bear territory, or maybe you're worried about another great recession. Josh Jelinsky, the financial quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Tune in this weekend to the Financial Quarterback to hear how Josh and his team can help you decrease your tax liability and lower your risk. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health. And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Tune in every weekend to the Financial Quarterback and call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check.
Okay, we're back. You don't have to be a tax specialist to see that many clients suffered investment losses in 2022, and that these losses have created opportunities for them to save on their federal tax bills. But they can save in many ways that go beyond simple tax loss harvesting. Year-end planning for 2022 has to account for 3 acts. This from fa-mag.com. According to Eisner-Amper, year-end tax planning for 2022 has to account for 3, count them, 3 acts. First act, the opportunity deals with required minimum distributions. So the 3 acts are Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017, the Secure Act, and the CARES Act. These 3 pieces of legislation offer you 5 opportunities to lower their income for tax purposes. So the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, the Secure Act, and the CARES Act. So give us a call, 800-321-0710. If you have a question. Joe asked for Social Security for my statement from 12/20/20 to June of 2025, and I don't see any COLA raises on it. I don't know, maybe asked too early, Joe, not sure. We have to, you can come in and 888-988-JOSH, and we will call the good doctor, Larry Kotlikoff, and if Social Security screwed up, Larry will shame them. You don't want to get on Larry's bad side. So we saw a lot of capital gains in 2021, and 2022 is a different story. We want to make sure to cover specific planning opportunities in November so that you have some time in December. Now, mind you, how many days we have left in November? 4? To pull some levers and make somewhat of an impact on your taxes. Now, I want to tell you something. We're off. We're off January 1. We may take off December 31st. May. It's the operative word. Right, Jim? Well, do we have to stay? Well, for the market, we may have to stay over half a day. Here's the point. When we're done, we're done. You're responsible for your own taxes. Now, maybe it's because we're from, the tri-state area, and New York is always try to, get one over on you. We're always try to have that angle. Here's the thing. You need to be pulling your RMDs now, because what if snail mail doesn't come? I got news for you. If your RMD doesn't come by when Ryan Seacrest rocks in the new year, I don't even watch the New Year's Eve shows anymore. They're just trash. I miss Dick Clark. He was nice. I don't want to have all these trashy celebrities go in. So next up, we have Anastasia. Go ahead. Anastasia, go ahead. Or Anastasia.
Hello?
Go ahead. You got to turn down your radio.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're echoing. You have to turn down your radio now. Turn down your radio.
I'm trying to.
Okay, well, we'll go to the next caller. Okay. Let me know, guys, when Anastasia is ready. Folks, when you call in at 800-321-0710, I know you like hearing the sound of your own voice or maybe mine. But you know what? You can't have it on in the back because it gives an echo that's really disturbing to the host. It's just, that's why, what did Bob Grant used to do? Yell at people? Get off the phone. Okay, go ahead, Anastasia.
Okay, thank you. I have a question regarding my Social Security income. I get $1,400 a month, and I am very concerned because the only income I have is my Social Security. So with all this taxing that I hear that's going on, why are we paying tax on top of tax? This money already was taxed.
Because FDR made a promise to Americans that he would never tax Social Security. And he didn't. But 50 years later, Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton broke that promise in tax reconciliation acts. So, number one, what is your total income? Are you just on Social Security?
Only
Okay. And what is your Social Security check?
$1,400.
You have nothing to worry about. The threshold is 44 grand if you're married, or 34 grand if you're single, or 25 grand if you're single. So let's say you made $2,300 a month. Then you would pay tax on 50% of your Social Security check. And for there's something called the provisional income formula, which you take your municipal bond interest. That's why municipal bonds hurt you from Social Security taxation. That is why municipal bond interest hurts you. That's why IRA distributions hurt you. CDs. Everybody's saying, oh, I want to go on an I-bond, Josh. I want to go on a T-bill. You know what? That will hurt you in terms of Social Security taxation. Annuities will not. Life insurance will not. Roths will not. So if you want help lowering your Social Security taxes or your Medicare premiums, call me at 888-988-JOSH. But Anastasia, I believe you have nothing to worry about. Okay?
Thank you so much. I did leave a message that I like to talk to someone on Monday. I will appreciate it. I need some advice on the house. So
Okay,
I will
wonderful.
call back. Thank
Wonderful.
you so
Yeah,
much.
that's a good point. Maybe you're selling your house. Maybe your parents passed away recently and you've come into a lot of money. Maybe you just won the lottery and you don't know what to do with the winnings. Give us a
Your
call.
Mouth to God's ear.
Yes. Well, make sure you call us 888-988-JOSH. Thank you,
My
Anastasia.
pleasure for,
Great to meet
for
you.
listening to you. Thank
Wonderful. So, you know what Anastasis means in Greek? Resurrection. So, Anastasia is a great name. This qualified charitable distribution is available to both spouses from their separately owned or an inherited IRAs for a total of $200 grand. And the contribution can exceed the required minimum distribution. This strategy, however, cannot be used with a donor advised fund or a private foundation. So you have a couple options. Required distributions, you can do, so these are things you can do by year end to help your taxes long term. You can make sure you take an RMD or else there's a 50% penalty. Number two, you can do the tried and true Roth conversion. Number three, there's also a little known strategy that is not as publicized, but we talk about it quite frequently on the show. Do you know what it is, Jim?
No.
Jim's like, why are you calling on me? I'm not the financial advisor. I just work here. So for those of you, Jim is the office manager. He has about 10 titles. What are your titles, Jim?
What is it?
Now it's radio guy,
Radio guy, office manager,
building
supervisor,
Bill-
maintenance,
he does everything. HR.
HR.
So we're trying to train some of these youngsters to replace him. Ben's not even here. I thought Ben would be good at HR, right? Wouldn't Ben be good at HR? He's so nice. At the HR function. So, anyway, but we thank Jim I'm thankful for Jim this year.
And Dr. Phil.
And Dr. Phil, yeah.
That's my
He can also be a psychologist, but he's not a financial advisor. That is, so you say, well, why does he work for? He's the best transfer agent you would ever imagine. Also, that's actually his best job. He loves calling companies and helping clients. It's a full-time job just to move money now. You may be realizing, why is it a full-time job to move money? We've had people come to us from, we won't name them, but they are low-cost mutual fund providers, no-load aficionados, if you will. And so basically you're cheap. And what you're realizing is you're calling the 800 number at your favorite institution that you've been with for 30 or 40 years, and you're realizing you're speaking to a boob on the other end of the microphone. Or not microphone, cell phone or telephone, yes. But what do? Well, that's why we have what's called middleware, i.e. Jim. And Jim will sit on the phone with you for an hour and on hold so you don't have to. Or, so you can wait with him. And then we will conduct due diligence with our staff so that our financial advisors will have all the information to give you valuable resources. But I got news for you. After COVID, a lot of these big companies that are private companies that are still making a profit, you're talking Schwab, Vanguard, Fidelity. By the way, we use Schwab and Vanguard and Fidelity for clients for various reasons. But you need an advisor. You can't just go it alone because the hold times are, how long are the hold times now?
They've gotten better.
They've gotten a little better,
Yeah,
but they're a
I
long
start
time.
early in the morning with them.
He has to start early in the morning. So Jim's here at 7:30. If you want help with your financial company. No, but we're really getting a lot of people coming to us just saying, I'm getting to an age where I can't handle the service, but I want a fiduciary. I want someone that acts in my best interest, and I want low cost fees, and we'll provide that for a reasonable fiduciary fee. So our fees are surprisingly low, many people say. But there's also another strategy that's a little less publicized. It involves giving up $100,000 from an IRA account with required minimum distributions to give to your favorite shul, church, or charity by December 31 in order to reduce your 2022 income. So the second opportunity comes from the CARES Act. This legislation's itemized deductions allowed fully deductible charitable contributions in 2020 and 21. But for 2022, the clock has been turned back, and now the rules are the same as they were before COVID. Itemized deductions are once again limited to only 60% of adjusted gross income for cash gifts and 30% of a long-term capital gain on property given to public charities. For gifts to grant-making private foundations, there's a limit of 30% of AGI for cash gifts and a 20% limit on gifted long-term capital gains. So call us now, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH. And if you maybe work with a charitable foundation or organization, I'm going to tell you a strategy you may not have considered to reduce taxes for your donors, thereby getting 40% more donations for your charity. And I'll give you more tax tips for individuals and corporations when we return. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher, or that the stock market is headed for bear territory, or maybe you're worried about another great recession. Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Tune in this weekend to the Financial Quarterback to hear how Josh and his team can help you decrease your tax liability and lower your risk. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health. And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Tune in every weekend to the Financial Quarterback and call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check.
So we're talking year-end tax planning, and for some reason they continued to insist on an intro song that sounds like Lady Gaga. I'm not doing it. Cut it out, guys. Anyway, I'm not going to fall out of an egg from a music studio or a music award show. So give us a call, 800-321-0710. The next opportunity comes from the CARES Act. So write a check to your favorite shul, church, or charity. Now, I want to realize if you're over 72, a QCD is a better way to give money to charity than the CARES Act, because that income doesn't count against your Medicare taxes or your Social Security tax. However, if you're writing a check to charity, you can deduct up to 60. That's right, 60% of adjusted gross income for cash gifts. And so what that means is if you make $100,000, you could write a check for $60,000 to charity, and get a deduction on it. And to 30% of a long-term capital gain on property given to public charities. So you know what? This is horrible. Our politicians are letting charities suffer. They should extend the CARES Act for charity. Charities were getting massive donations. For gifts to grant-making private foundation, there's a 30% limit for cash gifts and a 20% long-term capital gains gift. So what is my tip? My tip of the day, and I hope people aren't listening. I hope, whatever, people at the IRS aren't listening. So that's why you're going to see a lot more sponsorships for charities, like banquets. I used to say, why did they have a banquet? And then I learned the tax law, because you can sponsor a banquet as a corporation and get 100% write-off because it's deemed advertising, not charitable. So that's why your bulletin, the bulletins at the Catholic Church have the companies, names on them. So, I'd get some pious people say, if I give, I should give in private. Well, if you're doing your gifts for the glory of man and not, the glory of God, yes, I agree with that. But if that can enable you to give a 40% greater donation because you're giving to charity or your church or shul, do it that way, and that's okay with your religious beliefs, consider a sponsorship. So if you're a charitable organization, bring back the Bad Chicken seminars. Where you have the speakers come, and I will avail myself. I will have a very low speaking fee. A lot of people, their speaking fees now to speak, you know what their speaking fees are? When you go to a banquet, they're like $10,000. The average speaking fee to give money to charity. You know what? I'll do it for $4. So, no, I'm not joking. So, that's a considerable discount from normal speaking fees. So I speak at charities. I give my story on how I've woven both entrepreneurship and giving back as a company, and how you can be a values-based organization. There's a lot of things you could do. So I'd be happy to MC a charitable event. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, if you want me to MC your charitable event. Jim will play the bass. So, folks, a planning opportunity has arisen. Another planning opportunity, you might say. We talked about sponsorships. We talked about the QCD. Since pre-COVID ordering rules remain suspended. Say the client has $1 million in annual gross income. You might say, nice problem to have. This means that they can take advantage of the larger 60% deduction for a $600,000 gift, even if not all the contributions were cash, to a qualified public charity. For this to be possible, according to Eisner Amper's CPA Kizik, the taxpayer must elect to have the percentage limitation suspension apply to their qualified contributions. So you can still get the 60% and call us at 888-988-JOSH. Next up, we have Bob on Secure Act 2.0.
Hello, I'm calling in regards to, wasn't there something or other in the 2.0, Secure 2.0, that was going to allow the age to go up for your RMDs to 23 years old if it was signed by the end of this year?
Yes, but we don't know yet. It hasn't been passed.
It's just my luck. I'll be 72 next year. And I also realize that the RMD will be based on whatever the 401k was worth in December 31st, 2021 will be the thing. And actually, that was at the highest. Now there's been a considerable loss. Well, not loss, but, considerable down. It would be great for me to be able to do it at 73. Hopefully, it'll be different times. I thank you for your thoughts about it.
Yeah, I'd be careful. Now, that's why when the holidays are coming, you don't turn off the radio. You tell all your friends to listen, because we're here live every Saturday and Sunday, breaking down Secure Act 2.0 and other tax law changes that you won't want to miss. But you're right. One of the Secure Act 2.0 changes is the change on RMDs. Any other questions?
No, I'm good. Thank you for your knowledge, and thank you for doing this live on Saturdays. I've been listening to you for a while. God bless you. Thank you for your work. Bye.
God bless you, and tell all of your friends to subscribe on their cell phones right now with podcasts. Just type in podcasts and then search for The Financial Quarterback, Josh Jelinsky, and I should come up. So give us a call, 800-321-0710. Now, there's something called the percentage limitation suspension, where you can get all of your ordering rules suspended. For example, if a client wants to make a $300,000 donation of stock that you've held for a long time to a private foundation, and also wants to take the maximum deduction for public charities giving as well, it's possible to hit that $600,000 maximum with the two combined. The client would first make the private donation to the foundation of $300,000, which is $100,000 over the 20% limit. That $100,000 can be carried forward to 2023, leaving $200,000 as the private foundation donation for 2022. If the client then elects the limitation suspension, they can also make a $400,000 cash donation to a qualifying charity. So they would have a total of $600,000 in allowance. That's called the ordering rules. The pre-COVID ordering rules have been suspended, so you're allowed to take the $600,000 total deduction if you had the good fortune of making $1 million a year. For most of you, you don't make that, but hey, if If you make that, we're here to help you. The third opportunity, bunching donations and front-loading a contribution, will remain very popular this year. For a married couple, donating $30K a year for 5 years with a $10,000 real estate deduction for state and local taxes, the total deduction would be $200,000. However, if they front-load those charitable deductions and donate $150 in the first year, followed by nothing the next 4 years, the client's total deductions would end up being $272,000, as they would elect the standard deduction for those 4 years instead of itemizing. By bunching deductions, you're able to utilize more of the charitable contribution over those years. $72,000 increase in deduction with somebody who's in the 35 or 37% tax rate ends up being a $26,000 benefit. So that's real money. Who wants to live forever? The immortal words of Freddie Mercury blast from the speakers as blue lights swivel around the room and smoky mist floats up from the stage in front of me. If the audience is anything to go by, the answer to his question is the mega rich. It is undoubtedly an exciting time for longevity science and medicine. I hope I live long enough to see some positive results. When we return, this is Josh Jelinsky, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Tune in to the financial quarterback Josh Jelinsky this weekend and learn how to protect your financial future in a down economy. Josh and his team at the Jelinsky Advisory Group can help you lower your taxes and lower your risk in these uncertain times with a 27-point checklist designed to improve your financial health. Whether you're worried about runaway prices, fear of an upcoming recession, or a stock market meltdown, tune in to the financial quarterback and count on Josh Jelinsky to call the play. For a free copy of Josh's book, The Retirement Reality Check, call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674. Or visit Jelinsky.org. That's JALINSKI.org. Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher, or that the stock market is headed for bear territory, or maybe you're worried about another great recession. Josh Jelinsky, the financial quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Tune in this weekend to the financial quarterback to hear how Josh and his team can help you decrease your tax liability and lower your risk. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health. And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Tune in every weekend to the financial quarterback and call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check.
This is Josh Jelinsky, the financial quarterback. If you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds, whatever question you want, no question is a dumb one, except the one that you do not ask. So call us now, 800-321-0710. If you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds, whatever question you have, no question is a dumb one, except the one that you do not ask. The Biden administration on Tuesday issued a final rule that makes it easier for employers to consider climate change and other so-called ESG when picking investment funds for their 401ks. The U.S. Department of Labor rule, which takes effect in 60 days, undoes regulations put in place during the Trump administration. These prior rules, issued in 2020, had a chilling effect that effectively sidelined employers from weighing ESG factors when selecting 401k funds, said senior Labor Department officials said during a press call Tuesday, this according to CNBC. Why is that? Why did they have a chilling effect? Because those funds stink, typically, relative to non-ESG funds. ESG funds. They've done studies that not even Tesla, that has done more for the environment supposedly than any other company in recent memory, was not woke enough or green enough to be included in the ESG factors. So I'm against ESG funds, particularly because who is determining whose environmental standards, whose social standards, and whose governance standards? But I will tell you, it probably will be a reality because the rest of you are asleep to the fact that ESG or woke investing can be a real problem. So what they're doing is when you have a 401k, the employer has to pick a fund lineup based on the fiduciary rule, which is picking funds that perform better, that do better. Now your 401k may be down, but for example, an S&P 500 index fund has probably outperformed an ESG fund over the last 10 years. If they live by the fiduciary rule, the ESG fund would not be considered. If the Biden administration issues a rule that allows for the fiduciary rule to be put away because of environmental, social, and governance standards, well, they can add an ESG or woke fund. Now, to be fair, they would not necessarily call it woke fund. Some would say it's called sustainable or impact investing. And although I'm for the environment, I'm for solar and wind and, Teslas and batteries, nuclear, I don't like the idea of ESG funds being forced upon via a private rule. Realize this isn't a law that was passed by Congress where the law had a chance to get better through process of debate. These are rules of the executive branch. There are many flavors of ESG funds. They may, for example, funnel investor money into wind and solar companies, or those with diverse board members, or steer funds away from firms involved in fossil fuels. But have you ever given thought to what happens when ESG funds conflict? Does Ave Maria funds, a more Catholic fund company, are they considered ESG because they have environmental social governance standard, but they tend to be more pro-life than a pro-choice type fund? So I think ESG investing is problematic. I'm all for companies making wise moves with their money. I'm looking into solar for our company, largely due to the tax benefits. And I like the government incentivizing environmental actions with tax benefits. It's how people got into the electric car revolution. I do not like the government weighing in on ESG funds. I mean, hey, if you want to do an ESG fund, go ahead, do it. Also, there are many other companies. We have, what happens when family values conflict, when people have different definitions of family, different definitions of what a woman's right is, all these various things that I don't want to get into on a radio show, but that's what you're doing now with ESG. It's not about what is best for the client. It's what's best for the ESG board. Now, investors did pour $69 billion to ESG funds in 2021, which is an annual record. So I think it's good to have that available as an option, but not be a forced thing. The inflation, now to be fair, the Biden administration is not forcing ESG. It was forcing ESG disclosures that companies have to, submit these things. And it's also focusing on giving 401ks. So if you have a company, you have to live by the fiduciary rule. So now you can still live by the fiduciary rule, but you get a pass if you buy ESG funds. So the Inflation Reduction Act is expected to further bolster the popularity of ESG or woke investing. The law, which President Joe Biden signed in August, represents the largest federal investment to fight their view of climate change in history. Now, we'll tell you what these new ESG rules do, But first, Margaret, go ahead.
Hey, good morning. I sold municipal bonds that I bought, many, many years ago, and I had a profit of $350,000 roughly. So that's going to be added to my income. My other income is all from qualified dividends, dividends from investments. How can I get this down before the end of the year so that I'm not smothered by the tax that I owe?
Well, that's a great question. There are two things you need to do. Number one, you need to pick up the phone, call me at 888-988-JOSH. I'd love to meet with you. Number two, you need to do tax planning. Now, there are two types of tax planning with a financial advisor you can do. You need a CPA, so we would work with your CPA. If you need one, get one. But there's a couple of things you can do. One is a qualified charitable distribution to lower your RMDs. Number two is charitable donation. That's something you could do by year end. Number three, you could do a charitable remainder trust, whereby you donate those shares into a trust, get a massive write-off, and get an income that lasts as long as you do. You could also invest in real estate. You could do cost segregation, bonus depreciation. So you look at real estate, charity. Now that's what you can do by December 31st. When we return, I'll give you some more. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher, or that the stock market is headed for bear territory, or maybe you're worried about another great recession. Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Tune in this weekend to the Financial Quarterback to hear how Josh and his team can help you decrease your tax liability and lower your risk. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health. And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Tune in every weekend to the Financial Quarterback and call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check.
This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. So, Margaret, you had a follow-up question, and then I have a follow-up answer. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
What was your question? I mean, did I answer your
My
question?
was,
No, I know your
how
question.
Can I get
How
my
you have
taxes down?
Yeah, how do you get your taxes down by year end? Number one, you could do charitable deductions. Number two, you could do a charitable remainder trust. Number three, you could invest in real estate to show bonus depreciation. Number four, you can look at life insurance as a way to get money out tax-free in the future so that this isn't a problem. See, that's the thing. There are things you can do now to get tax savings by year end. There's also things you can do later so that, it's the name of the game is not asset allocation, although that's important. It's tax location. Because if you add the money in a life insurance policy or a Roth, distributions would have been tax-free. Municipal bonds are tax-free income, but when you sell it for a capital gain, it's taxable. And they could be taxable via Medicare taxation and Social Security taxation. So that's something you could look at is asset location. Maybe when you're buying things, don't buy stocks that throw off a dividend outside of an IRA, because then that will hurt you every year. You'll be paying taxes on money you're not necessarily spending. So that's another tax tip. Don't pay taxes on money you're not spending. Look at annuities, which are tax deferred. Look at Roths. Look at life insurance. Now, you already bought the munis in the past, so you got to deal with the taxes today. So you could do a QCD, qualified charitable distribution. You could do a CRT, a charitable remainder trust. You could do a CLT, a charitable lead trust. You can invest in real estate. You can invest in solar. You can invest in different projects, syndications, things of that nature to take a write-off. So I don't know where you live, but you could buy solar on your house. That's a nice write-off. So I hope that helps you.
Yeah, so this would be a write-off for this year, and also for the future. Now, for the future is not what I am really interested in now, because I'm not going to make $350,000 every year. That's for debt.
Well, you never know.
Sure.
Well, you never know if you're making.
Yeah, but for this year, the way to get it down would be with charitable donations, is what you said.
There's multiple.
Correctly.
There's charitable. If you write a check, you receive no economic benefit from it. That's why, but if you do a charitable remainder trust, you can receive a large write-off that you have 5 years to use, and you get an income for life. So that's one potential option for you. A charitable remainder trust. Another is investing in real estate projects, because you could use accelerated depreciation. Bonus depreciation.
That would be for future years.
And
not for this year.
That's for this year too, as long as it's in service by December 31st of this year.
Uh-huh.
And if you want the 7 tax tips by year end, call us for the book, The Win-Win Wealth Strategy, 888-988-JOSH, by our good buddy CPA Tom Wheelwright. That is a free gift to you. If you schedule and keep your no obligation, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH. So according to CNBC, ESG rules, employers also won't violate their legal duty by taking workers' ESG interests into account when crafting a lineup of 401k investment funds. According to the new rule, that may lead to more engagement among workers and therefore more retirement security. For example, the prior rules didn't explicitly mention ESG, and they required employers to choose investments that were based only on pecuniary factors. So now they're using this fiduciary rule to say fiduciary doesn't mean lowest fee, more diversification. They're saying, fees are only pecuniary. You need to worry about the environment, and your company is damning the environment. So then eventually they'll fine the companies and whatever. I mean, they're not doing that with that yet. They are allowing it as a mere menu option. The new Biden regs scrap certain elements of the Trump-era rules that Labor Department officials said stymied employers from using ESG funds. Yes, that's because an employer was supposed to pick funds based on the best interest of the consumer based on pecuniary factors. Now they're doing ESG components and moral components, but whose morality? So this is very strange. I'm against it. Talk to your congressman or senator about it, but it's probably the rule, going to be the law of the land soon. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH. If you want to incorporate ESG into your investing, we can help you do that with Moral Screens, 888-988-JOSH.
WOR and WAXQ HD2 New York, an iHeart radio station. Available everywhere on our free iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts.
Get a deeper understanding of today's top stories. John Batchelor, weeknights from 9 till midnight on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.
An iHeart radio station.
45 degrees at 10 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Paul DeCastro. FDNY officials say 2 people were injured overnight after a blaze in East Harlem. It started around midnight in an apartment building on 3rd Avenue. There was no immediate word on the severity of the 2 victims' injuries. The cause of the blaze under investigation. It comes after 2 consecutive days of deadly fires, one yesterday in Queens and one on Thursday in the Bronx. New York City area roads and airports will be busy through the holiday weekend. In fact, AAA predicts this weekend could be one of the busiest in 20 years.
The Port Authority says close to 6.5 million people will use its airports, bridges, and tunnels in the New York City area through the Thanksgiving holiday period. And AAA says air travel is up 8% compared to last year's Thanksgiving. These flyers are at LaGuardia.
We were rushing because we thought, oh my God, it's going to be a big line. Get to the airport really, really early. I mean, there's food here, there's shopping here.
Now, AAA says the most congested time to be on the roads, 4 to 8 p.m. every day through Sunday. I'm Scott Pringle, WOR News.
And on the busiest shopping day of the year, Amazon workers across the globe staged walkouts on Black Friday.
Warehouse employees in dozens of countries rallied for better wages and working conditions. The Make Amazon Pay Coalition says protests took place across the U.S. and Europe and in India, Japan, and other countries on one of the busiest shopping days of the year. In New York City, protesters rallied outside the Manhattan penthouse of Amazon founder Jeff Bezos to demand better pay. Amazon has over 1 million employees worldwide, most of whom are paid by the hour. The company has not commented on the protests. I'm Jim Forbes.
A passenger at JFK Airport is accused of bringing a straight-edge razor on a plane and placing it near a woman's neck.
A Utah man is facing federal assault charges after police say he brought a razor blade onto a plane and then allegedly held it up to a woman's throat during the flight.
Pocket knife has been removed from the aggressor.
Video shows police escorting the man, identified as 41-year-old Merrill Darrell Fackrell, off the JetBlue flight after it landed Monday in Salt Lake City.
In sports, Portland beat the Knicks in overtime 132-129. The Nets lost at Indiana 128-117. On the ice, Islanders topped Columbus 3-2. Devils over the Sabres 3-1. Tomorrow, the Jets are home for the Bears at 1 o'clock.
Here's your WOR Weather Channel forecast. After a dry start to this weekend, it will be a wet Sunday. In the meantime, though, just a few clouds to start this Saturday, then a sunny afternoon with a high headed to 54. Clouds will spread in overnight with a low of 43, and then rain develops into Sunday tomorrow with a high near 58. On Monday, dry and cooler with some breaks in the clouds and a high reaching the low 50s. I'm meteorologist Jeff Marr.
Next news at 11. Start your day with Len Berman and Michael Riedel in the morning, 6 till 10 Monday. I'm Paul DeCastro on 710 WOR, an NBC News radio station.
Tired of losing money in the stock market roller coaster? Frustrated with the government taxing you into oblivion? Worried about inflation? How do you prepare for so many financial uncertainties? Welcome to the show that will help you develop your game plan. The Financial Quarterback with Josh Jelinski. Josh is a noted financial advisor and president of the Jelinski Advisory Group, and he's here to answer your questions. Call into the show at 800-321-0710. 800-321-0710. Now, let's kick off your financial future. Here's Josh Jelinski.
Hi, everybody. This is Josh Jelinski, the Financial Quarterback. We're live taking your calls on all matters financial at 800-321-0710. 800-321-0710. 800-321-0710. If you have a question on all matters financial, don't be bashful. Question of the day. Do you have any year-end tax planning talk questions? Do you have any macroeconomic questions? Now, for those of you who freaked out in June and October, if you remember, I said those were probably the peak fear times. Now, it doesn't mean, I do believe that sometime next year, the markets will crash again. But it seems that the fears have subsided. And we are getting that nice, warm, fuzzy Santa Claus rally feeling. Now, I want to be careful. The Santa Claus rally is really the last week of the year. And I could expect to see seasonable weakness in the stock market over the next few weeks. My year-end prediction with a friend of mine that I can prove via a text, if you want to, have a time and date stamped, was that I thought the S&P's worst days were October 6th and June of 2022. And, we even had Stan on. Stan would say October 6th, So it appears we were off as a firm by about a week. So pretty good call. Now, for those of you who say, well, aren't we going into a recession? Yes, but the stock market is a leading indicator. Now, I do believe that we might have some rally. Markets may rally to 4,400 on the S&P. And then people wake up and realize the economy didn't get better, and then the markets will crash again. However, I don't know exactly when that will happen, but you need to prepare. You need to prepare yourself. And there's only so many things that you can actually do to prepare yourself for financial success. There are very few things you can control. You can control your asset location, and you can control your asset allocation. Asset location is, do you do a Roth? Do you do an IRA? Do you do life insurance? Asset allocation is how much goes into stocks, how much goes into bonds, how much goes into annuities, how much goes into cash. Those are the primary determinants of success, not timing the market, even though we like to do it from a macro perspective. So next up, we have Gordon. You're on.
Yes, Josh. Before I ask my question, I just want to comment on what you just said about ESG investing. I agree with you 100%. This is a typical tactic of one of the political parties to propose something relatively innocuous and later make it compulsory. So this is not the first time they've done something like this. The question I have is about the 10-year
Now, to be fair,
rule.
though, Trump's SEC department, although they enforce what's called the fiduciary rule, that was an extension of the Obama administration.
Mm-hmm.
So back in the day, if you were a company, you could set up a 401k and you could have all kinds of funds in your plan. You could pick your fund lineup. In 2012, the Obama administration made the fiduciary rule, the Department of Labor mandated the fiduciary rule for 401ks. Trump followed that. Biden has continued that, but they've allowed this ESG narrative to emphasize things other than pecuniary, but moral. The question is, whose morality? Is this, woke university professors' morality? Is this Judeo-Christian morality? I mean, this is the problem with, moral screening. And it would be best to just have a company do it based on pecuniary factors, which is costs, things like that. So anyway, go ahead.
Yes, you've discussed the topic of the 10-year rule at different times over the past 2 weeks, but I don't think this specific thing has been addressed. If someone inherits a traditional IRA and they are subject to the 10-year rule, does the inheritor have to take out money from the IRA in equal amounts each year over the 10 years, or does he have latitude to take out very unequal amounts from year to year, depending on other factors, like naturally his outside income?
Well, the 10-year rule specifies that you have to have all the money spent by the end of the 10th year. So a designated beneficiary is required to liquidate the account by the end of the 10th year following the year of death of the IRA owner. So based on that reading, you can take out a little bit 1 year and then more the next year.
Mm-hmm. So there's no rules for what percent you have to take out in any particular year. You can take everything out in the last year if you wanted to, for instance.
Yeah, that's the, there is, There is some debate on that. Maybe we get a tax professional in there, but that's my reading of it. It's IRS publication 590B. So I'll get it up and start reading it during the break. Slot report at IRAhelp.com usually is the best resource on IRA rules, and particularly the 10-year rule. My understanding is it has to be spent by the end of the 10th year.
Mm-hmm.
What you're referring to, though, is the rule has changed. Back in the day, you would, as a beneficiary, you would be able to stretch IRA payments out of your life. And that's why I'm an equal opportunity offender. That's a real, that was a horrible rule that was passed by the Trump administration, ending stretch IRAs. Stretch IRA was like the greatest middle class trust you could think of. But I called for the death of I remember doing a show in 2012 where I said the stretch would be dead. And I think maybe I even said the 2010, that they were coming after the stretch. So my predictions on ESG are that they will become reality. Why? Because I went to school. Now, some of you are older than me. I went to school and I was taught as a 5-year-old child the abusive lie that the world will not exist by 2020. Did you know that? You were sending your kids to public school, Jim, right? You sent them to Southern?
Yeah.
And then I went to Lacey High School. And we were taught that the world would not exist in the year 2020. And that the seas would rise and that LBI would not exist. And that all of the barrier islands would be overflowed with water. Were you taught that in school? No, they kind of toned that down a little bit. It would be called environmental apocalypse. And there's a reason why AOC exists. This is what we were taught. No, I don't even know who to believe anymore, right? This is the problem. We don't have bipartisan inquiry on anything, from vaccines to environmental policy to climate change, whatever it might be. So I don't want to get into a climate change debate. But I think after a while, maybe they'll be like, yeah, you know what? It's all going to pot. Who cares anyway? But no, I'm not for any damage to the environment. I'm not for pollution. But here's the thing. If we really cared about the environment, you know what the solution is, Alex? We got to go nuclear. We have to go nuclear. Do you really think, I will predict this, all of the electric cars will destroy the grid? You know how Ron DeSantis, people want him to run for president with the slogan, Make America Florida. We will be making America California with rolling blackouts. Why did they have so much rolling blackouts? And there's money reasons. But they were the first to kind of embrace the electric car revolution. I embraced it, right? I love electric cars, sort of. I'm annoyed by my Tesla half the time. But I'm all for it if it lowers emissions. Because it doesn't really hurt anybody. If it helps the environment, good. And I get a tax break, right? So I like all those things. But what happens? Have you noticed this, Jim? Are you getting more brownouts? No. We are in my neighborhood because a bunch of people have Teslas. Yeah. So I think they're pulling energy from the grid. And our grids used to have more nuclear. So we need to go all nuclear around the country, but we're not going to do that because environmental whack jobs are against the nuclear rods. So are we against emissions? Are we against nuclear waste? I don't know. There's problems to both, I guess. So we have to choose the least evil path. And I remember being taught 40 years ago, peak oil theory. Google peak oil. Were you taught that, Alex?
No.
See, Alex is, how old are you, Alex? He's 20. He's a young, strapping 20-year-old lad. So you weren't taught peak oil, that there's not enough like natural resources or oil in the ground?
Oh yeah, I was.
Yeah, he was taught that. I know you were taught that. You went to my alma mater. So basically, that was a lie. 40 years ago, we were taught there'd be no more oil to extract. So they basically lied to us as kids in the 80s. So now maybe there's, I don't know, some truth to it, but from my standpoint, there doesn't seem to be any. So, mind you, I'm not for pollution, but that's the thing. These things are like, well, you're against the environment. No, I like where I live. I want clean water. I want clean air, but there are many paths to get there. You know, LNG, liquefied natural gas, solar panels, wind, all of the above. I'm kind of an all of the above guy. So, but I think if we're going to go to all electric cars, we need our grid to handle that. And I don't think our grid can handle that. So, publication 590B goes into the stretch RMD rules. So, I'm reading it on the IRS website called the 10-year rule. The beneficiary would have to fully distribute by the end of the 10th year. The beneficiary is allowed but not required to take distributions to that date. So you could wait till the end of the 10th year if you wanted to, Gordon. Any other questions?
Yes. This is a more speculative question, I know, but I'd just like to have your opinion on this. Do you think that the interest rates on short-term treasuries are at or at least close to their maximum at this time, or do you think that in the foreseeable future they could go significantly higher?
We at the firm differ a bit. Stan could see rates as high as 8 or 9%. I believe that if we saw rates to 8 or 9%, we would see a 40% decline in the stock market. So the federal government and the Federal Reserve will find some way to artificially keep rates lower than that, even if they have to raise rates because of inflation. So I believe the terminal rate that many are projecting is about 6.75 due to what the Fed is saying. So take that with that what you will. But if inflation cools, that will give the Federal Reserve permission to say we are halting the rate hikes. So Stan sees rates a bit persistently higher for longer. I see them persistently higher, but like where they are now and ticking a little bit down. I also don't think high rates are a bad thing. They're good for seniors. They're good for pensions. They're good for insurance companies. So I'm not against high rates.
No, I'd love to see higher rates.
We talked about this for years. President Trump was, this is why I'm an equal opportunity offender. I don't mean to offend Democrats or Republicans. I'll just defend you both. Remember when he was on the assault on Chairman Powell because he was going to raise rates years ago? Now, his point, I think, was they waited till he was in to raise rates, which is true. It did seem politically motivated. However, higher rates are not a bad thing. It teaches people the value of a dollar saved. So, Alex, you're 20. Did you know back in like the 80s you could put your money in a CD and earn 12% or 18%, and now you could do 5%? People don't realize that. They were taught about cryptocurrencies and GameStop meme stocks. They weren't taught that, saving money in a bank could be a good thing. So hopefully higher interest rates will bring back thrift. Now, I know we have a lot of our listeners who say, hey, what about bail-ins? I don't want to get there today. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, if you want the 27-point Ultimate Financial Game Plan. It'll be my free gift to you if you schedule and keep your year-end review at 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH, and we'll give you the retirement reality check at no charge, 888-988-JOSH.
Tune in to the financial quarterback Josh Jelinski this weekend and learn how to protect your financial future in a down economy. Josh and his team at the Jelinski Advisory Group can help you lower your taxes and lower your risk in these uncertain times with a 27-point checklist designed to improve your financial health. Whether you're worried about runaway prices, fear of an upcoming recession, or a stock market meltdown, tune in to the financial quarterback and count on Josh Jelinski to call the play. For a free copy of Josh's book, The Retirement Reality Check, call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674. Or visit Jelinski.org. That's JALINSKI.org. Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher, or that the stock market is headed for bear territory, or maybe you're worried about another great recession. Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Tune in this weekend to the Financial Quarterback to hear how Josh and his team can help you decrease your tax liability and lower your risk. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health. And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Tune in every weekend to the Financial Quarterback and call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check.
Okay. And folks, if you have a question on IRAs, Publication 590 is your guide. So I'm going to share Publication 590 up on the screen now on the YouTube. It's a little bit difficult to read, but you just go to the IRS and you go to Publications P590B. And you could literally ask any question: revised life expectancy tables, qualified charitable distributions, mandatory 60-day extension, tax relief, when must you withdraw? For example, if you have money in an IRA and you don't take the required minimum distribution on your 72nd birthday, well, the real rule is the April the 1st of the year following the year you turn 72. If you don't take it out, guess what happens? 50% penalty. I think that's a dumb rule, and they just need to pick an age. Like when you turn 73, you got to take it by December 31st of that year. Like this April 1 thing is confusing. But who am I, right? Just a weekend radio host in Radioland. So then we have the SEP IRAs aren't covered in this publication. So this is a really good photographs of missing children, which is interesting. Apparently, the IRS cares about the lost children and then future developments. But the 10-year rule is the biggest one. Also, what happens if you don't have, and this is Jim, we were talking about a 5-year versus 10-year rule. This is why I'm insistent on the 10-year with beneficiaries. If you go to the 10-year rule, it says right here, the 5-year rule also applies in all cases where there is no individual designated beneficiary by September 30th of the year following the year of the owner's death. So we were having a question from a dear listener friend this week. Do we do the 10-year rule? Do we do the 5-year rule? There's an importance to naming beneficiaries according to this, so you can get the 10-year rule over the 5. Because then the money has to be spent over 5 years instead of 10. So this is all. So the IRS, who would have thought the IRS came up with a good website? It's simpler than most tax people, but they did a good job. So like I said, I'm an equal opportunity offender, but I will give credit where credit is due. Now, there's also something called an ODB, not to be confused with things from the 90s rappers. ODB, I'm talking about other designated beneficiary. That's a whole nother rule. There are rules under the 10-year rule. There's what happens if the beneficiary is not an individual. So we'll take your questions on all matters financial. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. If you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds, whatever question you have. No question is a dumb one, except the one that you do not ask. So give us a call, 800-321-0710. Does anybody go Black Friday shopping anymore? Did you go Black Friday shopping? Alex did. Jim, did you?
Yes, I did.
You were recovering from Thanksgiving? And what did you do? What did you get? Anything nice? What did you get at Hobby Lobby?
A couple of things. Christmas, that's all.
What did you buy at Hobby Lobby? Things for your wife? Like trinkets?
No. Gifts, some garland for the tree.
You know you're getting old when you shop at Hobby Lobby. No, I'm kidding. You know I was getting old when I thought, for my wife this year, I'm going to get her some pots and pans. Ooh, not a good idea. Not a good idea. So I have a good idea. So make sure you get that special someone a gift. So Jim, what should I get my wife this year? And you might say she might be listening. She's too busy to listen. We have 7 kids.
I don't know.
Come on, Jim.
Jewelry?
Be romantic.
Jewelry?
She doesn't like jewelry. She returns the jewelry.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Jim knows that.
That's right.
She's returned 2 or 3 pieces of jewelry. She's just a simple woman. Thank God I married a simple woman. So, Alex, what did you get on Black Friday? Any good deals?
7 books.
7 books. Which books? Speak into the microphone. Okay, speak a little closer.
I bought 7 Japanese books.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
6 from Target because it was buy 2 books, get 1 free.
Wow. So, he's a man of many languages.
Wow.
So, do you know Japanese?
No, they're translated to English.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing. So, maybe you could learn Japanese someday. That'd be cool. So, folks, give us a call, 800-321-0710. Somebody said he bought, I don't know if he wants to speak, what he bought. Guy from Florida. Do you want to speak on, he said he bought, what did you buy? Get her 1,000 rounds of brass. Buy some ammo, optics, and metal parts for firearms. Nothing says romance like firearms. Black Friday shopping was done via computer. Does anybody go out anymore, or is the computer replaced? I'll tell you what, you know what I was annoyed by? I didn't realize till the end. I was like, ooh, I'm getting all these good deals from Costco because I love Costco's return policy. And then I realized they're charging now for shipping. So forget you, Costco. All the other places are like free shipping now. So anybody buy something special on Black Friday or any holiday tips? My tip is, having 7 kids, don't buy them crap that ends up in a garage sale a few years later, or toys. Buy experiences. But, doesn't really happen. But we shall see. So had a lot of fun this week. I took my sons to the baseball player Todd Frazier. Gave a veteran baseball all-star with the Reds, White Sox, Mets, Yankees, from Toms River, New Jersey, gave a little training session for my kids. So that was cool to see him teach my kids how to field and bat. And he did that with other kids. It wasn't like we were special, but they taught it. I don't know. A lot of kids were there. I want to say at least 25 to 100 kids. I'm bad at counting, maybe at least 50. So give us a call, folks. 800-321-0710 if you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds. No question is a dumb one, except the ones that you do not ask. So a friend of mine, I get an email from Joe. He says a friend of mine is trying to capitalize off of the employee retention tax credit for COVID-impacted businesses that have not yet claimed their tax credit. My question is, when does the ERTC expire? Tax cuts I've spoken with claim it is over, and deadline is, I believe the ERTC is still available. So talk to a CPA on that. JJ, the CPA, is a whole ERTC program webinar that we'll give away free to you if you schedule and keep your no obligation review. A lot of people also are getting scammed by the ERTC when you should be paying it like a CPA, an hourly rate, not a contingency fee. So the IRS has said, don't do these ERTC scams. A lot of people on social media getting screwed by ERTC. So folks, we'll take all of your questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds, whatever question you have. No question is a dumb one, except the one that you do not ask. We'll be back after these messages.
Tune in to the financial quarterback Josh Jelinski this weekend and learn how to protect your financial
Clubhouse.
future in a down economy.
We are live.
Josh and his team at the
calls.
Jelinski Advisory
So if you
Group
have
can
a
help you
question,
lower your taxes and lower your
chime
risk
in.
in these
Type
uncertain
your
times
question in
with a
the chat box.
27-point checklist designed to improve your financial health. Whether you're worried about runaway prices, fear of an
those of you
upcoming
who don't
recession,
know,
or a stock market
Clubhouse is
meltdown,
filled with
tune
a
in to the
cesspool
financial
of
quarterback and
scammers.
count on Josh
My show
Jelinski to
exists
call the play.
each week
For a free
to
copy
just
of
give
Josh's
financial
book,
tips
The Retirement
on
Reality
anything.
Check, call
From your IRAs to your 401ks.
888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674. Or visit Jelinski.org. That's JALINSKI.org.
Okay, we're back. This is the fastest hour in financial radio broadcasting history. We're taking your calls at 800-321-0710. Folks, give me a call. You may be shopping, but call me right now. 800-321-0710 to get on the show. And if you want my handy-dandy retirement pressures calculator, I had somebody the other day who said, Josh, you guys are too thorough. You got, we have CFAs, CPAs. We have a guy, Howard, who just meticulously will plan your whole life. We'll give you your whole spreadsheet of your life from 32 to 92. And what would happen if you have so much in stocks, so much in bonds. But I get some people who are impatient and they want speed over accuracy. So if you want accuracy over speed, call us 888-988-JOSH. But if you want a speed financial plan, I mean, I can give this to you in a 45-minute strategy session. It's something called the Retirement Pressures Calculator. This is the greatest single-use calculator that I've seen in the financial world. I'll show you that. But first, we got to go to Rose. Pin a rose on my nose, Rose. Let's go. Hi, Rose.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Yes, I'm interested in an attorney to prepare a will. Now, I am a very much senior. I have an attorney who gave me an interview, as he sounded like he was doing a scene from the producers.
Oh, wow.
He asked me the name of my grandparents and relatives, and then asked for a small summary.
Yeah, he probably wants to know your family tree. So the question I had in the chat box was, is there an inexpensive way to get a will? And yes, we have many attorneys that we've referred over the years that will do inexpensive wills for seniors. So if you need an inexpensive will or trust, now I'm not a CPA, even though we have CPAs that we work with. I'm not a lawyer, even though we have lawyers that will refer you to. But you need to get a will. Here's the thing. Dare I say, if you don't have a will or life insurance, can I say this on the radio? Back in the day, life insurance and a will was an expression of love. So I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but one must question the love of their family if they have not arranged for final affairs. Because you don't want your loved ones dealing with, where does mom and dad want to get buried? What are the last wishes? Get those things written out now. Even if you got to go to one of those inexpensive online will services, just get it and get it notarized, right? But we have attorneys that we work with that will help you get stuff really cheap. Okay, Rose, so give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. We'd love to help you. Thank you for the call. Next up, we're going to the phone lines at 800-321-0710. So give us a call. Now, someone says, Terry, could you recap the year-end tax advice, please, by any chance? Okay, so Terry, you can catch all of the shows on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or podcasts on Apple. But my simple recap of year-end tax planning is the following. There are things you can do right now to save your taxes, and you got 30 some odd days to do it. Number one, you could do retirement plans. Max out your IRA, max out your 401k. Set up a cash balance pension plan. You could get up to a $300,000 write-off. So number one, retirement plans. Number two, charitable giving strategies. Write that check out to your favorite church, charity, mosque, synagogue, whatever charity you like, shul, maybe the World Wildlife Federation, maybe, the North Shore Animal League, whatever it might be. Maybe the Wounded Warriors. You could just write a check to a charity. Now, that's a write-off up to 60%. You could also do something called the Charitable Remainder Unit Trust, where you get an income for life from highly appreciated stock. So number one, retirement planning. Number two, charitable giving strategies. Number three, real estate. You can buy a VRBO, put it in service by December 31st, get a massive write-off. You can get cost segregation. Number four, you get solar. Number five, you do real estate syndicates. I'd be careful of those because a lot of seedy people are involved in that, but those are things you could do. Next up, we have Harry. Go ahead, Harry. When Harry met Sally, go ahead.
I recently had to go into retirement. I went out on disability. I wanted to know, I have a Roth IRA. I wanted to know if I can still continue to contribute to it, or do I have to dissolve it?
No. If you're disabled and you're no longer working, you could roll the Roth 401k to an IRA. So if you're no longer with your employer, why is your old 401k with them? Now, in some cases, it may be best to remain with your old 401k. FINRA has a guide on reasons to do a rollover, reasons not to do it. We'll give that guide to you for free. And we'll do a rollover call. We do a due diligence call to ensure that a rollover is in your best interest. We'll do that for free at 888-988-JOSH. We work with third-party reputable custodians like Fidelity, Schwab, and the like. So is that what you mean? Meaning you're disabled? Do you have to roll over your 401k? You don't have to dissolve your Roth.
I don't have to roll it out from the company. I got a private Roth.
No, if you're disabled, the money can just grow tax-free.
Okay, so I can just leave it there, basically.
Exactly. It's a fantastic benefit. The beauty of the Roth is you get tax-free money for your entire life because you've chose to pay taxes now. So you're paying tax on the seed and not the harvest.
Right.
And
okay,
it doesn't hurt you from Medicare taxation and Social Security taxation.
All right, but I can still contribute to it rather than just leave it there. I can still contribute to it.
You cannot contribute to a Roth if you have no wages, unless you had wages partially this year or your spouse has wages.
No, I don't have any wages. The only thing I have is
Are you married?
No.
Okay, so you're single, looking for love in all the wrong places. No, I'm kidding. So make sure, so you're single, so you can't do a spousal IRA, and you've been disabled for the entire year, meaning you have no active wages. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Then you cannot do a Roth. However, that's a contributory Roth. You can do a Roth conversion utilizing your lower income, because I'm assuming if you're disabled, you don't have a lot of income, right?
No, I just have my pension, and I do have this Social Security disability.
So you could Roth a little bit each year.
Yeah, I'm like in the 8,000 range a month.
Okay, so 8,000 a month would put you at 96 grand a year. So you could do what's called bracket filling, where you could Roth up to your next level. That way, you're kind of betting on future tax increases and you're protecting yourself from that, but you're not over Rothing. There's a right amount to Roth and a wrong amount to Roth. Okay, next up, we have Paula, concerned about taxes on her RMD. When we return, this is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Maybe it seems like prices can't get much higher, or that the stock market is headed for bear territory, or maybe you're worried about another great recession. Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, can help you protect your family's financial future in times like these. Tune in this weekend to the Financial Quarterback to hear how Josh and his team can help you decrease your tax liability and lower your risk. Call 888-988-5674 to take advantage of Josh's 27-point plan to achieve financial health. And when you call, you'll receive a free copy of Josh's book, Retirement Reality Check. Tune in every weekend to the Financial Quarterback and call 888-988-5674 to receive your free copy of Retirement Reality Check. Tune in to the Financial Quarterback Josh Jelinski this weekend and learn how to protect your financial future in a down economy. Josh and his team at the Jelinski Advisory Group can help you lower your taxes and lower your risk in these uncertain times with a 27-point checklist designed to improve your financial health. Whether you're worried about runaway prices, fear of an upcoming recession, or a stock market meltdown, tune in to the Financial Quarterback and count on Josh Jelinski to call the play. For a free copy of Josh's book, The Retirement Reality Check, call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674. Or visit Jelinski.org. That's JALINSKI.org.
Elon Musk has announced big changes for Twitter over the social network the last month. He plans to vastly increase the revenue the company makes through subscriptions while opening up the site to more free speech, which in some cases seems to mean restoring previously banned accounts like the one owned by former President Trump. But Musk's plans for Twitter could put it in conflict with two of the biggest tech companies, Apple and Google, and tensions are brewing. So you have kind of Apple and Google, more woke companies, and then basically their app rules could ban Twitter ultimately from the app stores of both Google and Apple. But they have to tread lightly, or else Elon Musk said he will, basically make his own Apple or Google competitor. I think it'd be good. Competition. Basically, you either have Google Android or Apple, and there is not a third player. So I would love to see Musk create his own phone and app store. I'm all for that. I'm all for freedom. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. If you want the 27-point ultimate financial game plan, you get a free 45-minute strategy session on your financial picture, on year-end tax planning from a financial perspective. Maybe you do tax loss harvesting. That's another year-end tax tip. One tax tip is you could sell your crypto now and buy it back tomorrow to take advantage of tax loss harvesting. My personal prediction is I think a lot of cryptocurrencies will fall between now and the end of the year, price-wise, including Bitcoin, because people will say, hey, if I sell my Bitcoin today, even if they believe in it, and buy it back in a day, I can then use those carry forward losses and take advantage of the tax breaks there. I don't know if that'll happen, but I could easily see it will happen. Next up, we have Paula, concerned about taxes on her RMD. Go ahead.
Hi, Josh. I had a traditional IRA, and this year, back in May, I closed it. Did I have to take out the RMD, or the bank told me that I have to pay taxes at the end of the year?
Did you cash out the IRA?
I'm sorry?
Did you cash out the IRA or take your required minimum distribution?
No, I didn't take the requirement because they closed my account, and they told me that I will have to pay taxes at the end of the year.
Well, that's a real bummer. Did it happen? You didn't have to do that. That's not a tax law. They didn't have to close out your account. Did you do it within 60 days? Can you write a 60-day rollover check?
Yes, it was. They told me that I cannot convert it to the IRA again because it was over the 50 days, and the deadline is 50 days. This is what they told us.
Yeah, you might be able to get away with an exemption called custodial error. If you can prove, so call us at 888-988-JOSH. I'll see if I can help you. Get you in touch with a CPA.
But if I will pay taxes at the end of the year, it will be from this traditional IRA. Will it be okay? The bank will send me the note, and I will.
Well, they'll send you a 1099, and then you'll have to pay taxes on it. But I don't know why you did that, unless you needed the money.
This is what they told.
Yeah, well,
I will have to pay taxes because the IRA is closed. I have to pay taxes at the end of the year.
Yeah, it seems like there's a mistake. So give us a call at 888-988-JOSH. We'd love to help you, okay?
And what should I do now?
Well, call us, 888-988-JOSH. We have operators standing by live to schedule your no-obligation appointment. But ideally, I would have not let them close your account. You can open up an IRA at Fidelity or Schwab with us, and then have the funds sent with what's called a custodial transfer, tax-free from your bank to your IRA or any institution that matter. You don't need to do it with us, but somebody made a mistake. So
if they did it already, should I pay taxes at the end of the year and it will be...
I don't know. I'd have to look at the fact pattern. So give us a call. Next up, we got Billy. Go ahead.
Hold on, Josh. Let me get you off speaker.
Okay. Well, we're on live radio. Go ahead.
Hi, how are you? Hey, listen, real quick question, because, I'm a guy that I'm 52 years old. I've been a layman my whole life. I inherited, some money from my parents who both died. So I've been I have it all in stocks and retirement funds, and I don't really know what I'm doing.
Who am I? Why am I here? I don't know what I'm doing. Exactly. Well, thank you for the honesty. That's most people. And a lot of people will even pretend to know what they're doing. Some of the people who pretend to know what they're doing the most are the most idiotic with their money. They sell all their stocks just because the market goes down. They sell all of their, they sell things just because price volatility. So number one, you need your own customizable model. So that's 27 points. So for example, do you have a will?
I did that.
Do you have?
I read the index card, which helped me a lot, which was a great book.
Read the index.
20% invested. What's that?
Okay, so no, but you meaning you're saving 20% of your pay?
No, what I did is I set up 2 529s for my kids, and I also set up 2 Roth IRAs. Well, I had a Roth going already, which I'm 53 years old, and it has $30,000 in it, and I keep contributing the most I can to that from the inheritance I have, and I set up an account that feeds the 529s for my kids. So I did that. And then I invested myself in some stocks and mutual funds.
Well, it seems like you're further ahead than most, but what I'm talking about is I would do the 27-point ultimate financial game plan. That's us, and I'll show it on the screen on the YouTube for those of you who want to see. We have a whole
27-point.
Yeah, we have a whole thing called, so basically I'm blowing it up on screen now. We audit your car insurance, your home insurance, your liability. Why? Because as your wealth is growing, you can be a greater target for lawsuits. So we want to make sure your liability insurance is up. I meet a lot of people, they're worth $5 million and they only have a $1 million umbrella policy. It's a big mistake. Disability. Who's going to wipe your bib when you're drooling on yourself and you're 92? A lot of people don't have LTC, long-term care insurance, and they don't have disability insurance. Medical insurance, government plans, but people might say, oh, my wife takes care of me. Well, how many people who ended up divorced said that? And now they're single and alone, and they're 82. So, you got to be careful. You got to have a plan that divorce-proof to protect your money. That's why there's things called trusts. That's why there's things called Q-tips. Q-tip is basically a way to divorce-proof your money and to make sure that when you die, the money that you want to leave to your wife, and even if you have a divorce decree, a Q-tip can be a great way to split a divorce evenly with assets, because you can say, hey, what we built together, I don't mind if you have a share of, but if you pass, I want the money to go to our kids that we had together. So whether you're divorced or married, a Q-tip is a good idea. Wills, documents, life insurance. Who's going to protect your heirs if you die? Life insurance is a powerful tool to leave money tax-free to your heirs. Then we go, so that's all in the protection component. So those are the first 9 things we look at in the 27-point checklist. That's like your moat around your financial castle. I'm tired of going to funerals and they say, you know what? Johnny was a dope. He didn't have life insurance. So give him $10 into the GoFundMe page. You know what? I don't know about you, but I don't even trust the GoFundMe page. If I had a company, it would be a company that would audit GoFundMes because of all the scams that I've heard over the years on GoFundMes. So then we got the savings. So that's the P for protection. Then we have the savings component. That's making sure, okay, do you have 6 months emergency fund in the bank? Then on your bank accounts, you're making 3% or you still stuck at 0. Get off of 0. Call us. 888-988-JOSH will help you get off of 0. Then we got tax deferred accounts. So you said you're 52, you might be 10 years away from retirement. We want to look at giving you an income that you cannot outlive. So do you have a plan where you can get, if you need 10 grand a month to live when you're retired, do you have a plan to lock in 10K a month guaranteed with pension, Social Security, and annuities? Things that are guaranteed income checks. It's mailbox money. So I don't care how growth oriented you are. That's where we go next. We go from protection to savings to growth. Growth's important, but we want to make sure all of our retirees have monthly paychecks coming in. And that could be if you're 30 and you're listening. You know, you have to plan for the inevitable. Then we go into tax-free investing. Have you done Roths? Have you done cash insurance? Then tax deductible. Can you get more write-offs? Then we look at the G, which is growth. That encompasses Bitcoin, bonds, stocks, ETFs, funds, then real estate, and then businesses, because you get a lot of write-offs from businesses. So there's a ton of ideas from IRAs to Roths, so I hope that helps you. Any other questions, Billy, before we wrap it up?
I need to come and talk to you.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. Because there's a lot.
Listen.
It's
I
not
appreciate
that
you taking my call.
It's not that you're doing a bad job. It seems like you're saving. You're saving in a 529, but that's one component. That would be the tax-free drawer of your filing cabinet. So think about the way to organize your financial life by 3 components. And I help people worth $50 million or people worth $50,000, and it's the same. They don't have a way to verify economic activity. We do this with a very easy visual model. And I'll give that to you for free if you schedule and keep your no obligation 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH. I would tell you 90% of people who sold their stocks, they sold their Bitcoin in the crash of 2022 did not have a model. They weren't protection, savings, and growth
The preceding program was sponsored by the Jelensky Advisory Group.
Any awards, rankings, or recognition by unaffiliated third parties or publications, including 5-Star Wealth Manager, Advisory of the Year finalist by Senior Market Advisor, and Top of the $1 Million Roundtable are in no way indicative of the advisor's future performance or any individual client's investment success. No award, ranking, or recognition should be construed as a current or past endorsement of Josh Jelensky or Wealth Quarterback LLC. Information regarding specific awards, rankings, or recognitions is available on the Wealth Quarterback website at jelensky.org. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss. Investment strategies such as asset allocation, diversification, or rebalancing do not assure or guarantee better performance and cannot eliminate the risk of investment losses. There are no guarantees that a portfolio employing these or any other strategy will outperform a portfolio that does not engage in such strategies. This broadcast should not be construed by any client or prospective client as a solicitation to effect or attempt to affect transactions in securities or the rendering of personalized investment advice. Due to various factors, including changing market conditions, the information discussed in this broadcast may no longer be reflective of current positions or recommendations. While information presented is believed to be factual and up to date, Josh Jelensky and Wealth Quarterback do not guarantee its accuracy, and it should not be regarded as a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. The tax and estate planning information discussed is general in nature, is provided for informational purposes only, and should not be construed as legal or tax advice. Listeners should consult an attorney or tax professional regarding their specific legal or tax situation. Investment advisory services offered through Wealth Quarterback LLC.